On today's episode of the Nostalgia Test podcast, Dan and Manny welcome back Rob McCaffery from the Sanity is Overrated podcast to put Rocky 2 to the ultimate test. Welcome to the Nostalgia Test podcast, the show where two longtime friends put their mainstream pop culture past to the ultimate test, the Nostalgia Test. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of the Nostalgia Test podcast. I'm Dan Dissinger here in LA, and I'm here with my longtime friend and co-host, Manny Coelho. They're in New York. Manny, here we go. Here we go.
Number two.
Said there wouldn't be a rematch.
Number two. It's the rematch. I'm really excited. I'm wearing my jersey, jersey for this marathon that will be. We are doing Rocky 2, ladies and gentlemen, of our Rocky Marathon. Stay tuned. Further episodes, we will be going through all 6 of them. But today we're concentrating on Rocky 2. And we're here with our returning guest.
Yes. We're here with Rob McCaffery from the Sanity is Overrated podcast. You might remember Rob from episode 41 when we did Airborne.
Dan's favorite movie.
Yeah, my favorite movie. Rob, thank you for being here for Rocky 2. How are you doing?
Oh, guys, thanks. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. I'm thrilled to talk about this one. And Manny and I talked about it, and I was like, you're going to have me for Rocky 2, but I'm glad because I haven't seen this in a while. This is one of those ones that you just watch on TNT and while it's on.
This is I remember you were like
and you don't know which Rocky and you don't know which Rocky it is.
You were like I thought I was watching one, and I'll bring some things up about that too because I made that mistake too. Plus, I know everybody wants the 4. Rocky 4 everybody wants because that's just so easy. Loved by most of all people, but we had to give you a challenging one. So
it's fine. It's fine. In fact, I like a challenge. There's some great stuff in this. Some great stuff in this. Yeah,
way better than Airborne.
Way better. I mean, we could say way better than Airborne.
but
yeah.
So why don't you tell our audience who's never met you a little bit about yourself and your podcast, and then we're gonna jump right into Rocky 2.
Yeah, again, glad to be back. I'm a podcaster. I'm an actor, and I'm from the town where Manny has his wonderful place of business, where he's the proprietor.
Litholgy Brewing.
Became friends with him by just walking in there and just talking to him constantly. We just have to kind of take our time, don't we? Don't we?
Oh yeah.
Every time we talk, I'd be like, I got 15 minutes. All right, we have to put a cap on this conversation because we'll be there for an hour.
Else it goes,
but anyway,
forever. Just like our last episode, Dan did a phenomenal job editing a 3-hour.
For sure. Yeah.
Rob was so tired at one point. He
exhausted.
He laid back on the couch, and I was like, man, it's going long when he's like holding and clutching a pillow between his legs, like, oh, I'm watching a grown man go to bed.
It was
right
cute.
now.
Oh my god. Well, I'll keep it. I'm in a chair now, and I'll edit a lot of things. I have thoughts, but I will definitely I will edit them as I can. But yeah, I have a podcast as well called the Sanity is Overrated podcast. Sanity is Overrated. We talk about juggling it all. Juggling life, career, friends, love. Feelings, and we're going into our second season. We're in a little bit of a hiatus right now, but we're looking to get started. In fact, tomorrow night we're going to have our first comeback episode, so tune into that. And if you want to follow us, you could follow us at any of the platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on Heart Radio, we are on Apple Podcasts, and if you want to follow me, I'm mostly on Instagram at Rob McCaffs, ROBMCCAFFS. And you can follow the Sanity Podcast on at Instagram as well at the Sanity Podcast. One word.
All right.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plugs.
Is the term we got from your from your podcast. So now it's a drop.
That's right.
I am also wearing a Flux wristband, aka cup holder. So
there you go.
Yes.
Again, with Rob we have to be sponsored by Flux on this one.
Get fluxed up.
We're sponsored by Flux in our own minds, I would say.
Get fluxed up. Sure.
We're usually fueled by Flux.
Drink Flux to perk you up after watching this boring ass movie.
Because every time we say
fueled by Flux,
she was like, "Hey Rob, can you go get me what's your dirty chai? Can you get me dirty chai over there while you're mixing the brew?" And I'm like, "I got you, bro."
That's right. All right, guys, let's get into this.
Oh boy,
it's Rocky 2.
Oh boy.
And really, did we even leave Rocky 1? Because
no,
it's the same, right?
What?
Am I wrong?
Here's what I'll say. When Rocky 2 opens up with the previously on Rocky, and you get the end of the Rocky 1 fight, you get a lot of the end of Rocky 1 or the beginning of Rocky 2. I totally forgot how much Rocky 1 was in Rocky 2 at the beginning, and that was jarring. But
that was a lot.
Bro, that was like exactly a last time on Rocky.
Yeah.
Like, you missed the episode, so let me show you the highlights. And all it was that whole thing. Yeah, you're right, Dan.
It was the whole ending. The whole ending. All of it. All of it. And then it starts pretty much the way, with that music from Rocky 2. Like, I actually enjoyed the opening to Rocky 2 with the shots of the city at night and all the, everything going on as they're rushing to the hospital and stuff like that. And this is a 2-hour movie. It feels like 4 hours long.
Did you feel like you went to the coma with Adrian? Because I did.
My God.
I thought we were literally
I was gonna say that. Like, I felt the time pass.
Oh my God.
I felt the time pass, and that was a montage as well.
Yes.
That was like a strange montage, Rocky learns how to read montage.
He learns how to read. He reads a poem he wrote.
Rocky learns how to read montage. Yeah.
I had to actually, I'm going to be honest, I had to fast forward a little bit through that because I was like, this is getting to me. Because that's the part where I'm just like, it's 15 minutes long. That whole section is like 10 to 15 minutes. It's like just him in the hospital looking at Adrian. And I'm like, how much time is passing here? Like, I need to know, because he doesn't change his clothes. Nothing is changing. I'm like, this could have been like 2 days. This could have been a whole month. Like, I have no clue how long he's been in that. Like, she's been in a coma.
You could argue that this came out at a time where movies, they move slower. You know what I mean? And it's 1979. Like, the cuts that we make now in movies, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Dan. Like, the cuts they make now is everything is just like a cut. And there's more like there's a lot of dead air, dead space. Yeah.
Oh
no, well, yeah. They didn't cut through 2 scenes. They didn't cut things like they do cut now. They expected people's attention spans to be a little more longer than we are now. Now we're just like, boom, ooh, squirrel, what's going on? Is there an explosion?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
that's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, it was, and I don't know. And this actually, Sylvester Stallone directed this one. So the original director from Rocky 1 was not the director for Rocky 2. So this was Stallone's directing, Stallone's writing, pretty much all his vision. I mean, it's weird. I don't know. I'm so conflicted with Rocky 2. I'm like so conflicted with Rocky 2. And I'm watching it. And the first thing that came to mind as I'm watching it, especially as he started blowing his money, I was like, dude, this whole movie is about how making bad financial mistakes, like total bad financial mistakes. He's buying a car he can't drive. He's buying a house he has no idea what's going on. He bought a jacket with a tiger on, but he only has $37,000.
So what's funny about that
in 1979?
But how many taxes got taken out? He made 150
grand on that fight, and he
more than 50% tax.
But let's talk about that. Like, we went right to the coma because we felt this movie was long, but that part of the movie doesn't feel long. That all feels rushed because obviously things happen very quickly. Like, okay, so he gets rushed to the hospital. I just want to bring up, like, Apollo all of a sudden right away becomes like this showboat again, even though he had just told Rocky, we're never gonna fight again because Apollo looked beat up, but then doesn't look beat up at the hospital anymore, and he wants to stand up and finish it.
I know.
Right?
That scene of them in the wheelchairs is just hilarious. It's just it just reminds me that it reminds me of like that scene from Days of Thunder where they're like rolling down the
you're right.
like two guys like, I'm still tough, but I'm in a wheelchair, you know what I mean? I'll get up out of this wheelchair. I was like, it was just showboating. It was just silliness.
that was
but,
perfect Apollo. Best part about Rocky, I like his, like I call him dad jokes.
Oh my God.
He slips in, obviously they play off that he's a little punchy or whatever. He has he's slow, but like his jokes are so funny. Did you get the one when the reporter is asking him like, "Oh, do you think you experienced brain damage?" And he's like, "I don't see it." Like
he's like, I don't see it.
I remember that. Or like, this is a good omen. These numbers, they almost add up to 9. And then
I like that.
Go 2 + 3 + 1. Oh, that is 9. Like you actually do the math. Like every time I forgot about that because every time I see this movie, which is usually on TNT, I see it from like that moment, and I always count the numbers. Like, oh, they do add up to 9.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
and I'm along for the ride.
His little son, and he's like, so what do you think you're doing for the next 40, 50 years?
Oh my God.
And what about how about we get married? And he brings her to the zoo.
I have a real problem with
remember
that.
from the first episode, first movie, freaking what's his name? What's the guy's name that he used to break fingers for?
Gazzo.
Yeah. His henchman who drove them around was like, "Oh, you should bring her to the zoo." And Dan doesn't like, that the R word was used. He's like, "Yeah, they like the zoo," and he brings her to the zoo.
I had such a problem with that. I was like, why did he bring her to the zoo? And where is there a zoo near this hospital? Like he walked. No,
I mean they went.
Is there a Philadelphia zoo?
Do we have? There probably is a Philadelphia zoo. Get some facts on
that whole scene. He comes out of the hospital, signs a guy's head. This guy looks like he got hit by a cannonball. And then like,
by the way, do you know who that guy is?
No.
That actor? He's the guy from RoboCop who gets hit by the bus that has all of the toxic waste in it, and he becomes like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's also God. If you watched ER, he was Romano. He was like that jerky doctor who got. If you watched it all the way through, he was the one who got. He went on the roof and he got a helicopter fell on him.
Okay.
So
this guy
that's who that guy was.
He's accident prone. He's like accident prone character actor.
Always. You told me to bring it. I mean, I have that in mind.
There it is. No, that's why we invited you, Rob. You got to sneak in some facts here because
weird.
We have other guests and they have facts as well. So this is what I'm saying. This part of the movie is pretty long, but it goes so fast. Like he gets married. He's talking to the Gonzo at the wedding. He's like, "Oh, what do you want to do with investments?" He's like, "You should invest in condominiums." And one of my favorite jokes. He's like, "I don't wear them."
That's a fun. I got it. I laughed out loud on that one.
Oh, I don't use them.
God,
that's what he says. He goes, "I don't use them."
But I feel like Rocky gets. He's like Rocky 1, then Rocky 2. He feels like it's like he gets dumber.
Yeah.
Then in Rocky 3, not so dumb. Rocky 4, getting smarter. Rocky 5, dumb again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rocky 3, I think
he got.
I mean, he had money to make him like face better. He even brings that. They mentioned that in Rocky 3, but we're talking about Rocky 2 right now. Dan, back to your money spending thing. Like, did you guys think the zoo had a part of being like, let's foreshadow Eye of the Tiger? Because like, why is he at the tiger?
Or the tiger on the back? Yeah, like
then the tiger on the shirt, on the
on the jacket.
Yeah, he was writing, or he immediately wrote Rocky 3, or like it wasn't like a lot of time. Like he wrote Rocky 2, they did it, and he started writing Rocky 3 pretty quickly. So I think like he knew that we were definitely getting a third Rocky. That was a definite. We're definitely getting a third Rocky.
But I wonder if he got his inspiration from the tiger jacket.
I mean, with Stallone, you never know. I mean, he's a secret genius.
I just wonder maybe like if they went to the band Survivor and was like, listen, like you got to write a song, but it has to have the word tiger in it.
Probably.
And they were like, we got it. We got a song for you, Sylvester Stallone. And then we have another song for you for another movie. So yeah.
That's it. I mean, they also needed to like sell records and stuff. So, but like, so he starts spending money like crazy. Adrian asks him, "Do you even know how to drive?" He's like, "Yeah, I drive airplanes, bulldozers." Like the guy, he's just so confident.
I'll drive you crazy if you let me.
Yeah.
Stallone was like writing jokes. He's a comedian.
Let's just say this. Look, in our lifetime, like I believe that Rocky and Adrian are one of like the greatest love stories in our lifetime. As far as like, when you think of people who fall in love in movies, it's like Han and Leia, Adrian and Rocky, Joni loves Chachi. It's all the same.
Ross and Rachel. No,
I mean, Ross and Rachel. No, but seriously, like Rocky and Adrian, like I gotta tell you, I gotta be honest.
Okay.
I shed a couple of tears during this one. I get emotional when it comes to dedication, when it comes to underdogs. I get so emotional. I don't know why. It's just, maybe it's the music. Maybe it's just like Rocky being part of your childhood, like him being that, that superhero. I mean, he is one of the first superheroes, if you think about it.
Sure.
Of our generation,
Mm-hmm.
Dan and I talked about it. Number one, Rocky was a love story. That wasn't a boxing movie. It was a boxing movie for the last 10 minutes of the movie. The movie was a love story, and this is just a continuation. Like, there's even a part where Adrian makes a joke. Do you remember this part?
No.
Now he's driving like mad. He doesn't know how to drive. They pull up to the new house, and he's like, "Look at these bricks." And she says, "My husband's an expert, a brick expert."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, is that because he used to freaking hit somebody in the head with bricks? Like, I was like, there's so many layers to that joke. And I was like, yes, Adrian. Like, there was so much subtleness to their relationship, but so great, like such a powerful relationship. And Rocky, and you see it in this movie, Rocky doesn't become like what we love about Rocky until he has the backing of Adrian. And some people would say that Adrian is a Debbie Downer in most of the movies. She always doesn't want, but that's because she doesn't want him to get hurt.
No, he would go blind. I mean, they're in the hospital. His whole head is wrapped. Like in that movie where that World War I or World War II movie where that guy's head's in a box and he's always like internal narration. It was like that. What's it called? Johnny Got His Gun or something? Like,
yes. Wasn't that a Metallica?
It was also
that's from a Metallica. That was, I know
One.
that from a Metallica video from One. Yes.
Yeah. So he looked like that, and they both almost died. These fights should have been stopped immediately, but like he almost died. He's almost blind, and he can't read. So like Adrian's like, what am I gonna do with this guy? What's gonna happen? I'm gonna have to go back and live with Paulie. If he can't,
they complement each other. They complement each other as people. They're opposites. And I think that's something to consider. Their opposites attract, and they bring out something in the other person. Like, nobody saw Adrian until Rocky saw Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody thought Rocky was a moron, but she saw something in Rocky. So they bring out something, they bring out the best in each other. And in the history of great couples, that's what brings out the best in both of them. That's what you want.
Rob, the fact that you brought up that, I was like, you're right. Like, they are one of the power couples of like fiction couples. Like, yeah, like having such chemistry and how much they support each other, even though like you would say, like you said, Dan, like, yeah, she seems like a Debbie Downer, but she's really more being protective. Like and she also believes that he could do more.
Right. Yeah. And I think like originally Rocky was supposed to be a trilogy, right? So when you do, and I know this is not.
Did you hear what the original story was supposed to be though? He was going to be like mayor, and then like as he's running, stuff comes out about Paulie, and then he becomes like he gets like taken down from being mayor, and he's penniless. So like they took that and kind of brought it into Rocky 5. Well, I was like, imagine a movie where Rocky's mayor.
Well, I think he got that idea because Rocky 1 comes out in 1976. Immediately after that, in Rocky in 1978, Stallone is in a movie called Fist, which is about he's like a union leader, right? And he gets
Right.
taken down in that movie as well from all stuff. And
Did you guys
it's a
have you guys
weird
seen this movie?
Fist?
I've never
Yeah.
seen Fist,
I've
but
seen Fist.
I know Fist. I've never seen Fist, but I remember it at the video store.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's not a bad film. It's really weird. And then he was in a movie
Ain't no
called
Nighthawks though. It's not a Nighthawks. I'll tell you that right now. Come on, doesn't have Billy D. Williams. Now that is a flick.
Well, that comes after Rocky 2, right? And I think this movie really mirrors Stallone's career. Rocky 1, he's on top of the world. Then he's in Fist, didn't do too well. Paradise Alley didn't do too well. So once again, Stallone writes a movie that like reflects his own career as an actor.
And that's why I
in
think
Rocky
it does so
2.
well.
What do they say? You write what you know. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
right.
what's, you say what you want about Stallone. I mean, he made something out of nothing. And, he didn't try and be anything that he's not. He wrote what he knew.
Yeah.
And that's why he won. That's why he won the Oscar in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's why to this day, I mean, we're still writing. They're still doing Rocky movies. And people are like, these are great. I mean, being the Creed movies.
Yeah.
They parlayed into something great. And he's, like I said, he's a superhero. It's a franchise.
Right.
Yeah, he is.
But
a
he-
superhero.
but I
I mean,
wanted
he
to say
does
this
last
about
15
yeah.
rounds.
Oh my God. I just want to say it's about Adrian. Adrian's character, if this stayed a trilogy, in Rocky 3, she's like at the top of her game. She has a monologue. She's like really there trying to push him. She's pushing him to train, which is totally opposite of what happens in Rocky 2. So
Yes.
like, I feel like if this ended at Rocky 3, I think you still have a very strong franchise. You have a strong trilogy, but of course we get Rocky 4 and she's back on the stairs. She loves stairs.
Oh my God. She
She
loves
loves
stairs and
stairs.
saying no on stairs.
Stairs.
She loves to stand on stairs. I wrote that in
She
my
wants
notes.
the
I was like,
upper.
yeah.
She wants to be like, what is it? Always have the higher ground.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
like,
Yeah, but what do they call that in filmmaking? Like echoes of the past, like they're the same things that happen over and over again, and it reminds you of something else. Like I know Lucas talks about it again, like how he wants the Star Wars movies to be. Like I know that it has to, when you see something that reminds you of something else, it's I don't know what they
it's
call
like
it, but like
it's like a signpost almost, like in writing.
Yeah,
like
a
we talk
callback,
to
right?
Yeah, like I'll teach students, like you gotta remind the audience why they're there, or remind them with something that they go, oh, that's why we're here. So I feel like there are these things, as these hallmarks of like the Rocky movies, or the relationship between Stallone and Adrian, Rocky and Adrian, that it's like there's always going to be this conversation. She might be on the
Yes.
stairs. She's going to feel alienated. But in the end, like, Rocky's going to like prove to her like all these things, blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
Dan, as you're saying that too, the stairs with Mickey, like we see it again.
Again.
They reached like shot for shot almost, except Mickey's now on top and Rocky's down on the bottom of the steps.
That's right.
Walking up, and it's lit that
Oh,
same
I didn't
way.
think about
I
that.
again love this movie for the lighting and the camera direction of this movie. Like, it wasn't directed by the same director. I get it. He was directing Saturday Night Live.
Saturday. No, it's Saturday Night Fever.
Saturday Night Fever and
sorry.
Staying Alive.
Not
And then
Saturday Night Live. What am
Stallone
I saying?
directs Staying Alive, which Travolta has said is like one of the best films. He loved being in that film, and he thought Stallone was an amazing director, one of the best directors he's ever worked for.
Yeah. So like,
I love Staying Alive. That is a great freaking weird turn in Tony Manero's life. But anyway, keep going.
So so like kind of just go back, and we could like go to the part where he talks to Mickey. But again, we're still in the first like 20 minutes of the movie, the first half hour of the movie, and now Adrian's pregnant, and it's so weird. What like Rocky's reaction is like, I knew you could do it. Like, what do you mean? Like,
I feel like that's the thing.
Did it. I knew you could do it. And like the reactions to a woman being pregnant at that time it was just a funny thing to look at, and I'd be like,
he got dumber from Rocky 1 to
I
Rocky
knew you
2.
had it in you, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, And then when they're in the park, this is where you find out Rocky, I think, or first time I remember seeing Rocky's or hearing Rocky's real name.
Oh, right. Yeah.
She's like, they're like, what should we call him if he's a boy? And she says Robert.
After the father.
after his father. So Robert is his real name, and then they did this kind of on purpose because when there's serious points where the characters might be saying Rob, you think they're saying Rock.
I know.
Yeah, that's so
the
funny.
Subtitles
I
on,
never
you can see that.
Yeah.
wait. I never realized that his name was Robert. My name. That's so weird. I knew that his kid was Robert. I knew it's just one of those things you don't think about because also when it's his son in like 5 and like I just called him Sage Stallone the whole time. Never called him Rocky Jr. You know what I mean?
And he never called him Rocky Jr.
And exactly. And I would just call him and then I would call Milo Ventimiglia Milo Ventimiglia. You know what I mean? When he played him later on. Yeah. So yeah.
His other son played the son in this one. His other son played the son in this one.
And then
the little baby.
Yeah. And then his son played the son in Rocky 3 and then in Rocky 5.
Yeah. And Milo was the only one to play the son twice.
Yeah. That's right.
He plays it again in Creed 2. He comes up. And then obviously Rocky Balboa.
Great scene.
Yeah.
Great scene.
Yeah.
But speaking about names for 1 second, Apollo's trainer still does not have a character name and they still call him Tony, which is the actor's real name.
It's Duke.
Right.
Yeah, but they still call him Tony.
It's funny because they do. And then there's one part where he's in the press conference. I forget what movie. I think it might be 3. It says Duke.
Yeah, they finally gave him a name.
Right. But then he's called Tony again in 4. They just keep going back. They keep going back and forth with this guy. I'm like, is his name Tony Duke or Duke Tony blah blah blah? Like what's this guy's
Duke is either his name is Tony Duke or Duke is his nickname.
I hope it's not Tony Duke.
It's Duke the Tony, like, or maybe Duke Anthony, and then he has like Anthony's his middle name. I don't know.
Duke Anthony.
I don't know. Like I think Duke might be a nickname.
No one calls him Duke.
Maybe he's a big. 3.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he's a big John Wayne fan. Who knows?
I don't know. It's just crazy.
Oh my god.
We
did Carl Weathers is the best.
Yeah, we did skip a part where Rocky knocks on Creed's door during they're both like healing, and he's like, "God, your best," like because he wanted to believe in himself, and he wanted to believe that like I can't, like I did last that long with the champ that actually was giving me everything he had, so I didn't waste this beating up of my life and like my face and his cracked nose. He was so obsessed with his nose.
So obsessed
and
with
the
his
thing
nose.
about that is they're alone. Nobody else heard that.
No.
So
that's right.
Creed can say whatever he wants.
Yeah. That was a very vulnerable moment for Creed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great moment.
And which also shows you Creed's obsessed with the showmanship, but like, he's able to share that moment with Rocky. No one else was there, like you said, but if somebody else was there, he probably wouldn't have admitted it,
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. So just this, I didn't even want to like the commercials. That was kind of like,
I hate that part.
That part is that they chose that character. Who's that character? Who's the director? I know Rob knows this.
I hated that. I felt like,
but who plays him?
I think the guy who plays the director is the name of the director.
That actor played that director, the sleazy, like, just let's get things done, insult this man. Like, I felt very uncomfortable. I don't know what Adrian was wearing, but
Always.
I felt very uncomfortable through the whole scene. It made me, they did such a great job because I didn't like that scene.
I just want to say that I smell manly right now. So.
And he's like, dude, do you think this smells like a man? I don't smell like a man.
I do not. But that's the thing. Like even in that, like it's just like he knows this is a problem, but doesn't know what to do. Like this is the first time he's like had money or people want to know him, and he's just like, that happens in the hospital scene when like the nurse asks for him to sign an autograph for his son, her son Charlie, and he's like he signs the autograph and he goes. And she leaves, and he's just like, to my friend Charlie, who I do not know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but that's that's real. You know what I mean? I feel like those scenes, the hospital scene, all that stuff leading up to leading up to some of these things, like the commercial stuff, which was very uncomfortable to watch. It was just like so weird and degrading. But I guess that was the point, right? But
Yeah.
That was
Well, they degraded him in
man.
one, right? Remember when the newscaster was constantly like they were kind of making fun of him, and like
Mhm.
you saw him outside of Adrian's house or Paulie's house, and he's like, "Hey, you know when they said those things and I say they don't bother me, they do." Like they constantly make fun of this man
Oh
who
God.
pretends in a way that he has like this like iron like shield that he's not isn't bothered, but he is, and he takes it all in, and he's like
Yeah.
he's very observant, like,
Oh yeah.
and he's got this like little jabs of like you said, like I don't even know him, doesn't smell like a
Mhm.
man. He's like, and then he's like, he knew the guy's making fun of him, and he held back. Then he says he's like, you're not too nice. Like I don't read too well. Like
Yeah.
it
He's
was
like,
it was sad.
It
It was like
sad.
I was like, oh man, but it was done well because I'm still like upset about it. Like looking at that. It
Yeah,
was
because he's your hero. He's your hero. I mean, Rocky.
right.
I don't know. He's got Manny. He's got to be your hero. He's a
Yeah.
lot of kids' heroes. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah,
And to see somebody who you admire be put down like that, you want to reach through the TV and take on that director because he's an everyman, and that's why a lot of people feel like him. What is that? What is that saying? They feel like a part of them is in him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the thing about Rocky is that he has, because of the underdog aspect of his character, you see that struggle that he goes through, and you can empathize with that struggle, and you can really put
Empathize, right?
you could put yourself inside his story. That idea of like struggling to kind of get what you want, to have your dreams come true, and you see the journey that he takes and like all those struggles that are in front of him. At the same time, you can also like connect to the love story part, because it's like these two characters who everyone just like not despises, but like they're invisible to the world, and but to each other
Yes.
they see each other, so there's
oh
that part of it too.
dude,
And
Dan,
I
did you
love
see how she was reacting to it?
oh, it was
She was
great.
supporting him until he was like, let's go. And she
Mhm.
like turned it on. Like, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to be here? Let's go.
Yeah,
Like,
Talia Shire has like an amazing stare in this
oh,
whole film that she does. And according to IMDb too, it's like it says like Apollo Creed did not smile once. Like Carl Weathers did not smile once in this entire film. So that character doesn't smile ever. And that's I mean, man, I can't say enough about Carl Weathers in this film. He brought it. I mean, when he threw those letters up in the air, when he's in his house and he's reading the hate mail, and his
oh,
wife is just like, can't you just play with your kids? And he's just like, oh, and he just like walks away. I'm like, oh, damn, he's so good. He was just so good. He was just so
Obsession.
good.
Obsession.
Yeah.
oh yeah. And he always has to be on top, and he does not take criticism well.
No.
Apollo. We see it in 4 when the spotlight's on him and it's negative. He's gotta turn it around,
Yeah.
and Adrian doesn't want him to fight anymore. What does Rocky has to do? He's got to get a job. Crazy part about this, and we haven't talked about it, is that Paulie throughout this thing.
This guy, I swear.
This guy gets Rocky's old job of collecting his suit,
Yes.
everything.
I was that was what I want to know. He's working for Gazzo, right?
Not
That's-
right away.
I just
Not right
I
away.
just noticed
Rocky
that,
gets
like,
his job.
yeah, but
Rocky gets him the job.
right.
Yeah.
But what did I miss that, or did it just happen, or he started wearing like nice suits, and I was
Nicer
like,
suits,
oh,
right?
he must
got all slim.
yeah, and I noticed that.
It's probably the best he's looked in any of the movies, right? Because even in 3, he looks kind of not so
Paunchy.
great. This is the best he looks. So, Rob, you were like, when did this happen? If you remember, when when Rocky's in the hospital, he's
Right.
not supposed to have visitors. Paulie's there, and instead, like, Paulie's pretending he's caring, but instead he's like, "Hey, you know how you used to work for Tony? Could you maybe put in a good word, get me your old job? Your job. I'm good with numbers."
Oh, I mixed that. I missed that
So
part. I mean, I
that's-
remember now you said it.
So that's where and like Rocky's like, sure, when I get out of here, like, like he's
When I'm
dying.
done being like, when I'm done healing for the next month.
After that fight he had at Adrian in the first one, and where Adrian freaking lost her mind and like stood up for herself, he
Yeah.
does the same thing to her at the pet shop, and I'm like,
Yeah, no,
I mean, I guess
Paulie's a terrible person.
Terrible.
I mean, degenerate. Yeah.
He's like the heel that you kind of are like, he's somewhat funny, but he's constantly just a terrible person. Maybe Rocky 5, he has some redeeming qualities, except the whole reason of Rocky 5 is because of him giving away power of attorney to the accountant.
Yeah.
So like,
Right.
he's just a degenerate, terrible person. Yeah.
But he's family, so you stick with him, right?
Well, because first of all, I guess he's Rocky's best friend.
That's what I don't get. I don't get that.
Because at the one point, he talks about how he's hooked up Rocky with his first, like he hooked up Rocky with his first girl, and Rocky's like, she had a kid, like, so that you kind of see some sort of history between Paulie and Rocky are like,
right,
they're like friends growing up, maybe two nobodies in a way, like people that didn't care about either of these two, and Rocky he's loyal. And he was loyal to Paulie, and then Paulie becomes his family, and just he can't give up Paulie no matter what.
But what I want to know is this: like, what do you think the age difference is between Paulie and Rocky? Because a part of me is thinking like Rocky's parents are dead, right? So like he's basically whatever. Like he has no parents. We never see his parents. We never meet his parents. There's only a mention of them. There's a photo of them in Rocky 1. So did like they die at a certain point when he was younger, and then Paulie became like this like weird like adult figure, or maybe like Paulie's his godfather of some sort, because in the Italians, like maybe that's it. Maybe he's his godfather. I don't know how this relationship works.
I think they're the same age.
What?
I just think he looks like shit.
But
yes,
Rocky's like
that's my thing about.
Isn't Rocky 32?
He's 31 years old. Okay, so maybe, but I think
Paulie's 31. Look, I'm like,
I went to my high school reunion a couple of years ago, and there are some people who look great, and then there were people who looked like they got hit with life. I mean, just got their dick knocked in the dirt. You know what I mean?
But Paulie was a veteran, right? He's got to be older. He's older.
Paulie was a veteran,
he
was a veteran. So he was he was a veteran in
World War II.
In Vietnam. No, not World War II.
Why not?
No. I would say that he is a veteran from a World War II vet.
Why not?
No, that's no
Rocky
way.
Rocky 1 is in 1976.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't buy that, because these people are my parents' age. And Paulie, maybe Korea. But I'm going to say Vietnam. I see he's a Vietnam vet.
Maybe it was Korea because it's the forgotten war. And I think that might be also part of his PTSD.
PTSD. I think,
for sure.
I think Rob, I kind of agreed that they're both actually the same age. Or like very close. They're like very close.
10 years apart.
Like they grew up in the same area, and he was a little bit older as a kid, playing stickball, and Rock was just this kid around. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe he thought, like, oh, I look out for this kid. He's been doing it since they were teenagers. Maybe he's like, when he was a freshman, he was a senior type of thing.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
No. Wait a second. How old do you think? What do you think the age difference is here? First of all, what Stallone?
I think there's a 5-year
education.
I don't think it's that much, dude.
Rocky was in 9th grade.
Maybe they went to high school. Maybe I mean,
they know each other from the block.
Maybe 5 years.
He didn't go to high school. He was. He didn't go to high school.
Paulie got drafted, had to go, came back. He knows Rocky from the old days, and they're still friends from that.
Paulie is at least 10 years older than Rocky. At least
10.
He's at least.
I don't know.
I don't.
Maybe we're just seeing it as because of their faces.
That's like, yeah. Well, how old do you think Mickey is?
How is Paulie gonna now be working for Tony when Tony had Rocky working for him collecting numbers? You think Tony's gonna go to a 10-year-old person over 10 years older than Rocky?
Well, yeah, because he's more violent. He doesn't care about hurting people.
Who?
Paulie.
I'm gonna say there's not.
This is tough.
Look,
There's
I don't think
probably
that there's,
like a back.
You're talking about a
backstory.
guy. You're talking about a guy in like peak physical condition, and you're talking about a guy who drinks and smokes and has,
But he wasn't though.
a shitty job.
But Rocky wasn't in peak physical condition in the first.
Well, but he still. I mean, okay, he wasn't in peak physical, but he still woke up in the morning and like drank freaking eggs and
yeah,
ran
like
in
Paulie
his-
looks like Spider Rico's age.
From Rocky
Probably.
Balboa. Not right. Spider Rico from what?
No,
Rocky
because
1?
because Rocky Balboa, Paulie's still in Rocky Balboa. I'm telling you, it's not as much as you may think, Dan. I think we're just seeing it because the actor himself is older, but I think Paulie isn't that much older than Rocky.
Okay, so according
Let's hear the backstory.
according to the RockyFandom.com wiki, they have Paulie Panino, which is Paulie, right? His character or whatever they say is born November 19th, 1940. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay, so there's an 8-year difference, I guess you would say, because Stallone's my mother's age. So he was what, 31 at the time in that movie? He played his own
When
age.
was Rocky born?
So 19 he was born in 1948. Watch.
who? Wait, Rocky? Are we just gonna look
Yeah,
at
let's
when
see.
Stallone was born or Rocky?
No, I'm saying Rocky.
Okay, so let's see. How old? Let's see.
If it has Rocky, does it have Paulie's exact birthday date?
November 19th, 1940.
Love it.
He died February
Okay, so
22nd, 2012.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
Okay,
what's-
so he was
He
born
was
in
71
76.
when he died.
my dad's birthday is November 19th.
Oh.
This
All right,
all
so we
makes sense.
figured this out. So we looked at the week. We're all looking at the Wikipedia page. We're all looking at the wiki page, and Rocky Balboa was born in July 6, 1946, and he's 74 years old.
1946.
No.
So he's
So it's so
1946. So
he was
Paulie was
40,
born in
So there's a
1940.
6-7 year
Yeah.
the 6-7 year.
so they know
difference.
each
There
other
you go.
from like the block.
the block.
Yeah.
Beluga. They know each other from the block.
Yeah.
Or like from not even from like is Rocky a big drinker?
So Paulie's supposed to be what, like 38 in this film?
Yeah, dude.
There's no
I'm telling
way.
you, yo, he's seen some shit.
Dude.
He was in the Korean War, Dan.
Oh my God. This is the problem with some of these films. The math. I mean,
Bro,
seriously.
we already realized that Rocky is actually a time travel movie because the kid he's like 2 in this movie. The next movie
Oh my
he's
God.
already 8 and 9. The following movie,
What did I
he's,
miss?
You know.
What did I miss from your other episodes? Now it's a time travel movie.
Oh, you gotta
Christ.
check it out. Oh,
but
what's
oh my
even
God.
crazier is that I'm already talking about Rocky 4. Yet we're doing Rocky 2 right now. How is
what
that
happened,
possible?
everybody? What happened?
Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa.
Calling you out, Steve Ferreira. But I mean,
Calling you out.
okay,
Was in
so
the tower.
even though
Little Easter egg right there.
Punch of the Future.
Holy nostalgia.
But you
Rob,
don't.
pay attention.
But
what are
I
you looking
think,
at?
I'm listening.
but I think Paulie.
I'm looking at his name just to make sure it's really Rocky.
Rob is so like he's
Oh.
like, wait, that's his real name.
I'm like
My name.
psyched out. I'm like, I have the same name as Rocky. I wasn't even named after Rocky. I was named after my father. Oh my God. So is Rocky Jr. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The worlds are colliding over there.
It's
Worlds
so
are
it's so
colliding.
fucking meta. It's so meta. I think I'm starting to I feel the effervescence coming off my face.
This might
Oh.
skew your answer to whether this passes the nostalgia test or not, possibly, because now
Yeah.
you're seeing yourself in Rocky 2.
Yep.
You are Rocky.
Like I could have been Rocky. I mean, he was born in
Or you could be
1979,
like
so he's a year.
Roky's son.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like I have that kind of relationship with my dad. Like my dad is, he's not a rocket scientist, but he's very adept at he works with his hands. So I guess maybe that's the same thing. And I feel like I'm a little like I have a better education than my father had. Like he didn't finish high school. He went to the Navy. Oh my God. It's all I'm Rocky's son. This is so meta. Oh, I got to get off this call. I don't know if I can finish this. Go on without me, boys. It's over.
Oh,
All right. So
Where are we?
We're at Paulie. We went on a tangent, and that's a nostalgia test tangent. And that's a nostalgia test tangent. We're at Paulie. Paulie's still, he's breaking fingers. Now he gets Rocky the job at where he used to work.
The meat plant. Yeah.
And Paulie goes, "Oh yeah, thanks. You're welcome, Rock." And Rock says to him, "You're welcome for the watch too, Paulie." Like Paulie was upset that Rock didn't say thank you. Yet there's so much that Rocky has done for Paulie, and Paulie has never thanked him.
Yeah, he's done so much for him, like not punch him in the face in Rocky 1 or this film, when he basically puts his wife and Paulie's sister in the hospital. So
you're saying about the foreman, Rob?
I was saying we have to give some love to Frank McRae, the guy who played the foreman, who also played the teacher in Red Dawn, who gets blasted when they land on the school lawn. And he also plays always plays like an angry captain. I don't know if he's been in like a lot of movies, but anyway, little love. He just died. He literally died last month. So
but he was also in Batteries Not Included.
Yes, he was.
Sci-fi movie.
Oh my God, he was.
Yeah, that was a great movie too. That was crazy. That was a weird movie.
He's also one of the 3 people or a few people in this movie that actually their character goes by their actual name in the film. So it's him,
like
Tony Burton, Leonard Gaines. Also, the director from the commercial film, the clapperboard reads his name, John Plachette.
Frank Plachette, Plachette, or John Plachette,
yeah. So this is another one, and Lou Filippo, who was the referee in the fight scene. There's like a bunch of people in this film that just use their name as the character name for the film, and he's one of them.
So, so now Rocky's back to work. This is still the beginning of this movie.
This is
still the beginning of the movie. He's back to work. And yet this seemed very fast to me. And like now you got the montage of him working. Like he's slapping the meat, blah, blah. He's doing a great job. He obviously doesn't mind working.
The meat. He's slapping the meat. I mean, quite literally slapping the meat.
He's just slapping it. Just slapping
instead of
it
punching
He's
it.
a meat slapper.
But you could see like he wants to punch it.
He punches it. He does punch a little bit.
But he tries to, he made a promise to Adrian. So back to the love story. Back to
Wait, can I ask you a question? How long do you think he was working at that meat plant?
Again,
it seems like
this movie
it could be a day.
I think it was more than a
I think
day.
it's a month.
Yeah.
I think it's a month, maybe 2.
I think it's a while
and I thought
because Paulie's back. Paulie's a little thinner when he finally, when he has to give him the car. Paulie's thinner.
Yeah.
The wife's already almost 8 months pregnant,
something like that, maybe. Yeah.
So he gets the job when she just became pregnant.
That's right.
So the thing happens, and she goes into a coma. The baby's premature, so 8 months. So this is a while. Like he's working there for a while, and then they just had to make cuts. And you know what?
Right.
Last one in, first one out.
There's a lot of time passes in this film. I feel like it's almost a whole year.
Yeah.
Like this is like a year.
Absolutely.
Film.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time. And then he's like, he just wants to be part of the fight game. So he goes and he requests to, and like Mickey was like, I felt like Mickey didn't want him to come.
No.
Because Mickey didn't want him to feel horrible of the other guys who looked up to him to watch him like collect spit. And yet Rocky's like, no, I gotta be a part of it. I gotta smell it. I gotta be
around it.
Yeah.
But why didn't he just then ask?
That.
Oh yeah. But why didn't he just ask him to help him train people instead?
I don't know.
That's what I
weird.
don't get. I'm like, okay, come there and help train instead of like come there and fill empty buckets. He didn't have to do that. That's what I didn't get. Like I was like, there were like issues with the storyline that I was like, well, I guess
you're right, because
he could have been
like. He could have been a trainer to help even prospects do better, considering this guy like just fought the
champ. I guess in the movie,
but the thing about it is that's an easy way out.
Right, exactly.
And there's no shortcut home.
Way. Like a little something that what is more.
Rob didn't get it.
What is more? What's
Rob,
that?
you didn't hear it.
There's no shortcut home. I heard you. There's no shortcut home. I heard you.
That's got me ball.
No, and this what's more degrading then being on top, getting your shot, and then having somebody spit in a bucket. I mean, that, getting it on you, it's this fall from grace. Like, you almost made it, and now you're back. It just it's more visceral. I think that's, if he was like helping people train all the time, then I don't think that the stakes would have been high enough. I think it's a little more visceral to have actually, be holding a bucket full of like water and spit and somebody spinning it while you have it in your hand. I mean, that is degrading.
He says,
I felt it right here.
And he says, oops. And then the guy is like, that's all you got to say. Oops. You like, basically like, you're soft now. You're soft.
That's the world. That actor is amazing.
Yeah,
that actor nailed it every time. Every time that actor I was like, there needed to be a scene where Stallone, like where Rocky punches that guy right in the face or something, like, because it just was like he just gets to walk around like that. But that's the other thing. It's funny how like these fighters all of a sudden like we just turn on Rocky immediately because of one ad in the newspaper. I'm like, okay, like they all just saw this
Philadelphia,
fight.
man. You either win,
but that's their world. Yeah,
you either winning or you're not. World. Eagles are either on top or they're not.
Oh boy,
so that's a Philadelphia thing. They're like they're not quite New York. They have like a inferiority complex.
We're calling you out, Philadelphia.
No, it's true. I mean, Bill.
Rob McCaffery.
That's Rob.
MCCA.
Right. That's right. I'm calling out Philadelphia. They do have a New York complex. We're all New Yorkers. We know how that works. I love Philadelphia. It's a cool little town. Yeah.
A cool little town.
I mean, it is. Well, look, if you really want to, yeah. No, listen, have you guys, this is a tangent.
And that's a nostalgia test tangent.
Have you guys ran up the Rocky steps? Have you done that?
No, I have not.
No,
because I have.
Oh,
see,
how did it feel?
Yeah,
with a bunch of kids, 800 school children chase you down the street.
No, they didn't. Which I thought was always really funny. Which I got emotional. It gets emotional. I got emotional when he was running up those stairs when he was like doing those hurdles over benches. I mean, he's a hometown hero. That's just
Forrest Gump in it.
In story.
He's Forrest Gump in it.
That's the story that people want to.
There's like 800 kids in that extra.
Yeah.
800 kids.
Yeah.
I just feel like that.
Okay,
go back to that scene with Mickey though in the hallway because he's
So Mickey, but in the one in the hallway when he's explaining to Rocky, go ahead, Dan.
I just want to say love that scene. It's lit just like in Rocky 1. We talked about that before, right? And he, first of all, Mickey Burgess Meredith was so good in this film.
I was going to say jokes. This movie, he shined. He shined in this.
Just their banter, the Rocky God. Mick.
He's like,
banter is great.
It's pretty good. Like, the Rocky Mick. He's another one has a relationship with Rocky, just kind of like Adrian, where it's like she just wants to protect Rocky, and Mickey just wants to protect Rocky. Like, and I don't know what it is, what their past really is, because like he was frustrated with Rocky in 1, but still trained him.
I think.
Then he was like, I don't want you to do this because he can't see. And he's like, you had the chance. You did great. I think you won. But like, I don't want you to do this. And I don't want you to come and train because I don't want them to make you feel bad. Like he protected Rocky.
Yeah.
As much as possible, even in 3.
When he tells him, when like they do that eye test and then he's like, oh, see, he's like, you saw nothing. And then he like did that like short like monologue about, he's like, what do you think he would do to you? Blah, blah, blah. And then he smacks him in the face. That scene was so good. That's still good. And that's the thing about Rocky 2. Like there are scenes in Rocky 2 where I'm just like, this is the story. But then there are scenes where I'm just like, if you just cut 15 minutes from this film.
Dude, there's I want to jump to this because like there's the story, like, all right, Rocky's, gets canned. He's at the bed with Adrian and he's going like, I don't ask you to not be stop being a woman.
God.
So let me be a man. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter. And he brings up being a fighter in 4 as well. That's what I do. Right?
It's like the same thing.
So get this. So now this goes to the whole steps thing. Oh, wait. But the only reason why Rocky's even there is because Apollo goes and insults him.
That's right. Yeah.
insults him.
That's right.
And even Mickey gets mad about it. Remember Mickey's like that scene when Mickey's like eating like Dunkin' cookies, soups or whatever. And he's like, oh, he gets all mad. And like, they're
I believe
both
Mickey,
so insulted.
Meredith, man.
Mickey,
Forget it.
I feel like Mickey lives like in like season 4 of Hoarders. Like he just got that bad where he's like in just
Mickey's in the locker room at the gym.
He lives in the gym, right? Like basically he lives at the gym, right? Because this is what I want to say.
I could smell that. I could smell that apartment.
Yeah.
I literally could smell that apartment.
And he's like throwing soup everywhere. If he just like willy nilly just throws soup, like you know he's not cleaning that up.
Clean that
you
up.
know he's not cleaning that up. His hearing aid is
Burgess
basically a
Meredith.
Walkman. He's wearing a Walkman.
That guy, there's not a lot of actors who like came out of like the 40s, 50s, and 60s that became like, I mean, I love it when like an actor gets the role of a lifetime in like, when they're like the Lion in Winter, you know what I mean? When they're like that old journeyman actor. And a lot of those it's kind of like him, Fred Gwynn in like My Cousin Vinny, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Those guys who like were around but they were real actors. Like there's people like, I don't know, man, like you think about that era of that golden era of film and you just see personalities. And then, that they were the real actors. And then when everything got a little more, nuanced and, with film in the 70s and the 80s, and these guys were still around. And a guy like Burgess Meredith to get a role like that at that point in his life, I mean, that made him, that's what people know him from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's gold. Every time he's on camera, he's gold. I mean, and I don't know if he was, if he stuck to the script. I want to know if there's a lot of improv in the script. Dude, that's what I want to know.
There's a couple of parts.
I don't know.
Just the way his takes on things. His takes on things are amazing. Like when he's in the at the chapel and he's like, "You want me to stay? I'll stay." Okay, yeah, I got nothing to lose. I mean, it's just it's so matter of fact. It's some super like it's a take that I would never think of as an actor, and that's why he's just a freaking powerhouse.
Wait, his
talk about Burgess
I
all day.
love this is the unsupported part of Rocky getting back into training,
right?
Which then you could see why he's not focused because Adrian isn't backing him, so he's not focused. I love this part because it's all Mickey. It's all Mickey. He's
Mickey
holding the chicken. He's almost laughing. He's like,
that scene.
We call this chicken chasing, greasy, fast speed. Chicken, and you could tell Meredith looks like he's about to crack up when he's like you gotta get the chicken.
When he's holding that chicken and he asks Stallone, he's like, "Well, why'd you have to wear that shirt?"
He's like, "Yo," and Stallone's like, like playing with the hole in his shirt, and he's like, "It brings me luck." He's like, brings mosquitoes,
brings
flies.
Like I want to know. I want to know if like
because I told you 1 and 2. Chicken chasing is how we used to train back in the day. And I'm like, I didn't look it up because I'm like, do people chase chickens? Is that how they like?
I think we made it up
1910?
Rob, I think you might be right. Right, like he might have improv some of this. He's like, I'm just,
like, I think a lot of it had to be improv. I would say that Stallone improved a whole lot of it, because he was like, "Hey, I'm the director. I do what I want. I mean, I'll say what I want to say."
But so one of the second like really great shot is when they're watching the film reel and he's eating that orange when Mickey's eating the orange.
Yeah, he loves to eat fruit in this movie.
And he's screaming and he's talking to Rocky about like the game plan and the southpaw and fighting regularly. And then when he's gonna click and he's gonna change. And the shot of the film screen going through the reel where it's just the signature like part. That's my favorite shot of the movie.
Yeah.
Like that's one of Mickey's best scenes. And he's so into it. He's like, he believes in Rocky, but Rocky's still not even believing him. So he thinks like Rocky's like, I got to just fight because he just wants to fight for the money, but he's upset that Adrian's not backing this up.
She's not on board.
And you could tell he's like, he's not into it. He's slow. And Mickey's like, he's trying, but Rocky's just not.
When Mickey goes, for a 45-minute fight, you have to train for 45,000. What is it? 45,000 minutes or something like that. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Now
He's
he's
spitting
the
up
original
orange.
Malcolm Gladwell. He's like the original
Exactly.
Malcolm Gladwell, you know?
I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a ton.
I love it
of,
when
like,
he's
how do you do that
like,
math?
yeah. I mean, that's just old school stuff. Look, you gotta realize that, Mickey's been there. I love
Yeah.
what he's like. That's the same. Yeah. You were talking about that scene when they were watching some real footage, and he was like, "We need speed. Speed's what we need." Like, I love that line. I love how he like made that little rhyme. I love that stuff. We need speed. Means what we need. Greasy speed. I love it.
At one point,
love
I
that
did
scene.
remember the penguin, him being penguin. Like, didn't he play penguin in?
Oh my God, he
In the
was the
original, yeah, that's
penguin.
right, in the
And when he's
He
animated-
was
saying
the
that-
penguin. Oh, yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, when he's like speed, I'm like picturing the fucking little cigarette thing.
Oh
the
my
cigarette holder.
God.
Like,
Oh,
we need
God.
speed.
I
Greasy
forgot.
got speed.
He was the Batman, and I forgot
Yeah.
he was the
The
I
series,
forgot
the
that.
penguin.
Oh,
Yeah,
crazy! Yes, in
Yeah,
the
man.
series.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then when he's training him in the gym and he's talking to him about like how he's gonna like crap thunder and all this stuff and whatever, and he's eating grapes. Like he just loves to eat fruit and talk in this film, and it's
Oh, he
going
loves it.
everywhere. It's just like this is a
and
nightmare.
he's not. He just like the soup. He's not picking any of that.
No,
that
he's not picking that
spillover
up.
juice.
They're taking Rocky's mouthpiece out with no gloves on. It's like putting their hands in his
Oh.
mouth, being like, man, just like what is happening? But like that scene, like his training scenes are so good. And like one thing I started watching, and I'm watching him train. I know we're jumping around, but whatever.
Oh, it's
at this
fine.
point.
Whatever.
But like he's training at the end when the montage starts, and I'm just like, did Rocky invent CrossFit training? Because it's literally just like cycles. It's like 45, 46, 47. And he's like, doing 50 reps. It's like on to the next one, do 50, do another 50. It's just like, what is happening? And he's doing like those exercises, like, like he's like walking with a log on his back around the park. I'm like, this is some
Like, what
weird,
was
like,
that about?
CrossFit
I
shit.
don't want to do that. Yeah, it is.
No, and then he
Yeah,
stops and he's like, oh, and then he keeps going. I'm like, I would have went home.
No eggs this time, though, right? There was no egg scene.
No,
right? He wasn't
no eggs.
drinking
He doesn't
in
drink
this
any
one.
eggs until
thank
Rocky
God.
Balboa.
So, guys, if you like Nostalgia Test podcast, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and like.
Follow us on
subscribe.
all social media outlets that you can find us and where you can get podcasts: Podbean, Spotify, Apple. All right, so we get to the part where Dan hates, and that's
The coma.
Paulie goes to
Oh,
yell at Adrian for making
Yeah, like
Rocky
what's that
soft.
about?
Rocky's like, don't go, leave her alone, Paulie. And he's like, it ain't right. And I'm like, oh,
And you
boy,
know
here we
why he's
go.
going? Because selfishly, Paulie wants to make money on the fight,
Well, and
as
it's-
usual.
He doesn't drink at all, really, that much in this film.
No,
Paulie.
but I'm saying
No.
Paulie wants to make money.
right.
He wants to bet on Rocky or get a sponsorship on his freaking robe again.
right.
But like, he's selfishly going there to yell at Adrian and
oh my God.
basically causes this woman to go into almost losing her baby.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Yes.
screams at her. First, he knocks pet food out of her hand, saying that she's feeding squirrels. And then like just starts screaming at her. And she's like, you're not gonna have to live with him. I do. Like, I have to take care of him. And he's
Mhm.
like, oh, what did I teach you?
Right.
Blah, blah. He's like, you didn't teach me anything. It's like the old school Adrian Paulie argument, except Adrian's 8 months pregnant. Like
yeah.
Paulie, and this just brings me back to just being like how much Burt Young, he's another great actor in this film. I mean, he just plays up the like dirt baggery of Paulie so well. And in this one, he just thinks he's also a gangster.
Yes.
So like it like kind of compounds that. Seriously, I mean, you just want to hate this character. He just makes himself so unlikable.
I mean,
So
if you
unlikable.
really think about it, in pretty much all of them, like he's the guy you hate. You need to hate somebody in all the movies, and I almost hate him more than I hate the person that Rocky's fighting.
Well, yeah, there's no reason to hate Apollo in this film. I mean, Apollo and Rocky are both dealing with the same thing. They're dealing with pride, dignity. They're dealing with
Yeah.
that part of themselves. So there's no reason to hate him. Paulie, all the
Like,
reason in the world.
I wish they would have made like Rocky. Rocky Balboa should be him finally beating the crap out of Paulie. That's true. That's what it should have been. He should have just knocked out Paulie.
Should have taken a swipe at him.
At least like one street fight, like where they like bring up old shit.
Yeah,
you
just
know,
slap him.
Like remember that time? Remember that time you knocked the ice cream out of my hand, and like they just like go nuts.
Yeah, I mean they're only 6 years apart.
Sure. Yeah,
6 years
Paulie,
apart.
you're always knocking things out of people's hands. Ice cream, pet food.
We started this podcast talking about this scene. She slips into a coma. It takes forever. One of the slowest part of the movies. You're like listening to him read. Now she wakes up. She's like, you haven't seen the kid? No. Somebody else has been taking care of this kid. This kid's going to have problems growing up. And then she says, do me one thing, win. Dude, Mickey's face. And she says, is he eating something? Is he eating something in this scene? I think he might be. What are we waiting for? And then it's a whole different montage.
Yeah.
Whole different montage. Dude, when you're talking about the training, like his trainer that's like counting for him.
That guy's awesome.
That guy is in shape, dude. That guy.
I think they might be. Those guys have to be the real deal.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those guys are fighters.
So
I know one of the guys.
The guy he was sparring with, like that he couldn't catch, that really the smaller fighter that Mickey had him like trying to catch. That guy's a real fighter.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, like I think he's a real trainer, possibly, but they might not be real trainers. They could just be actors as well, like just character actors. But when that guy starts like hitting Stallone,
When he's like
hitting
ta-ta,
him,
ta-ta.
what's that? What exercise is that?
Like, oh my God.
All right, do some sit-ups, and this guy here, he's gonna slap you. He's just gonna slap you as hard as he can.
No, that was a crazy scene.
And then you're gonna do push-ups, and he's gonna hit you with this bat.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening in there? Like, how is that even an effective way to train?
Dude, he's about to be beat up again. Like Rocky's got to just turn into a piece of like stone. It's a piece of iron, actually. Piece of iron. He's got to get the eye of the tiger, turn into a piece of iron, and get sued for hitting somebody. Yes.
Yeah, totally. Just eat lightning, crap thunder. I mean, come on, that's what he's doing right now.
But what's funny is I would say like Rocky always has to fight on a holiday. So the first fight Rocky won, he fought on New Year's Day.
The most celebrated in America, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
According to Apollo Creed. It's the most celebrated day in America is New Year's Day, not New Year's Eve.
Sort of bicentennial.
The book according to
Apollo Creed.
Rocky 2, he's fighting on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yep. That's right. Apollo at the press conference was like, this is going to happen on Thanksgiving, blah, blah, blah. And Rocky 4 fights on Christmas. So he always has to fight on a holiday. I
think he just doesn't like being home on holidays.
Like, it's serious. Like, it's just like, why do they keep putting this guy in like fights on a holiday? I don't know any boxing matches that ever happened on like Christmas or Thanksgiving or
football
New
matches,
Year's.
Maybe, but
yeah, football. There's no like pay-per-view boxing
matches.
Happening.
Football match. Football.
Did you say football matches? Jesus.
Sport
Christ.
games.
Sport games.
All right. So listen. All right. So we see this great training thing. Rob, you said you ran up the steps. I don't think I did. I think I might have walked up the steps maybe one time. I didn't run up them. I don't know why. But you see how fast he's running when you got that like the 3 or 4 kids that are like almost catching out to him, and then he just like takes off.
There's that one kid screaming like, go, go.
And then you have the fanfare, you have the Rocky horns.
Yeah. Hour and 26 into the movie. Hour and 26 minutes into the movie actually like begins. Or like the most important part happens. Like a lot of stuff happened in this film.
Oh,
but like, dear God.
But we get to the point of why this film was made. It was for him to have the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian doesn't come with him.
Well, there's a reason, because Talia Shire was filming something else during that time. So like this was like some sort of conflict. So like she actually couldn't be in the scene. So they had to kind of write it around.
It's just so funny how some mistakes like that make a movie.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know, like
It's
how
some
you could
real
work
world
it on.
mistakes. Yeah.
You know, like the baggy robe in the first one was a mistake, and like he adds that to a Rockyism. Like he's like, it was baggy. Like, hey, what do you think about the? What do you think? It's a little too baggy. Like he says it so many times that you're just like, oh, that was a great joke of Rocky, or like some observing joke, and it's like, no, he did that because he was mad about. Like the wardrobe was just baggy. And then this one, his new robe is tighter. And he brings up that it's better than the last one because it's not so baggy.
You like this robe? This robe's so much better than the last one last year. I'm like, whoa. Last year. So these two guys beat the shit out of each other. And then within a year are back in the ring with each other.
Absolutely.
There's no way. Broken
That's how it
ribs,
works.
broken nose, blindness. Like, oh man.
Dude, Apollo didn't even look like he got touched.
Hurt.
Apollo didn't even look like he got touched. We didn't even see Apollo heal.
Apollo looks like he should have, like, in real life, he was, first of all, he had 19 pounds or 18 pounds on like Rocky. He's taller than him. He looked like he was in better shape. He should have won this.
Cut like steak. Carl Weathers, cut like steak.
Yeah.
Oh no, he was in great shape for this movie too. And like during one of the fighting scenes, like I think it was in round 2 where you see them like being broken up.
Yeah.
That was a real fight that they were having.
That was a real fight that they had. Yeah.
Because the choreographing didn't really work out and they like were hitting each other. And like Stallone and him like went at it. And like they kept it in there.
One or two?
In two.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Stallone, during the editing, which took 8 months of editing. 8 months
to edit this fight together.
Edit this film. He's like, oh, we got to keep it because it looks real.
I love that robe thing. Just go back to the robe thing. They're looking at the robe. They're saying it's nice. And I think Mickey goes, yeah, it's real cute.
Dude, Mickey, this is a really great Mickey film in my opinion. But
this is a great Mickey film. I mean,
but of course,
so good.
So of course, we get the fight. And this is the thing about Rocky 1 and 2. I don't even think it's about the fight, right? Like we're coming towards the end of this podcast. Everyone's kind of tired right now. We're exhausted about this talking about this movie.
I feel like I've done 15 rounds with you guys.
Yeah,
seriously.
but think about it. You go through this whole movie, and the fight is less 10 minutes maybe tops.
19 minutes. The scene after when he finally gets to the ring, Rocky's basically late to his own championship fight because he has to get a blessing.
Stop at the priest.
He has to talk. He's got to talk to Father Carmine. You always need to talk to Father Carmine.
But wait, what's funny is that,
you always have to talk to Father Carmine. I'm sorry, my accent is awful.
But he?
He has this big moment that's happening, and he's late to his own fight, like a championship fight, not like a fight at the church with Spider Rico number 2, like rematch.
No,
this is a championship fight, and he's showing up late. Everyone's like, "We've been waiting for you." You only watch this thing for this long, like seeing the fights. They all look like the same cuts to me. And then, of course, Rocky wins by what? 1 second, 2 seconds,
1 second, 1 second.
Yeah. He
wins by
up.
1 second.
Yeah, that's it. And then, he says, yo, Adrian. He only wants to say something to Adrian. Yo, Adrian, we did it.
Rocky loves to talk. After
loves
he
it.
goes
That's all that
15
matters,
rounds, he goes 15 rounds. He can't see. His brain has been shaking and like his head. He shouldn't even be able. And all of a sudden he's like, hold on, I want to say something. That never happened. I want to say so, but that's a point where then I just started. I'm like, oh my God, like when he won and that music comes in at the end, chills. Like chills. And you see, and that's the kind of scene that saves Rocky 2 for me, because while I'm watching Rocky 2, I'm like, I don't know if I like this or not. I don't know what's going on. And it's like, this is a little too long feeling. I mean, Rocky 2 did make $200 million. I mean, on like what, a $2 million budget or something. I forget what the budget is, but it was super successful. But I mean, this is the scene. I mean, the end of this movie is what saves the film for me, because everything else, I'm like, I don't know if I told $7 million budget and made $202 million. But I don't know. It's a weird film in that way. It just, I don't know.
I
Going
love
through these,
I
I'm really
love the
confused.
part. There's the way the movie ends is when Mickey hugs him,
Yeah.
right? And they like zoom in, like they have that shot, and
Yeah.
Mickey's got the Rocky jacket on.
Yeah.
I really, I don't know what it is, but that scene sticks to me, and I just, I can't hate on this movie. So we're coming to the ends here.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna ask it.
Can
Go
I just
ahead.
ask a few things? I'm just sorry, like, because we did
Oh,
post
yeah, we had
on
some
like
comments.
Twitter and Instagram and stuff to see if people had any questions or comments. And I just want to shout out the podcast, Even the Score. And Even the Score had this awesome comment on Twitter, and it said, they said, do you think the franchise continues if Rocky loses this rematch in Rocky 2? Meaning, like, can it continue as like the lovable loser boxer who keeps trying? And then in Rocky 3, it's Creed and Balboa again in Rocky 3. And that's how this movie franchise runs, like 1, 2, and 3. Say like it's just a trilogy, and it's just Creed and Balboa the whole time. And we get to 3 and they fight a third fight.
I think it's too much. I don't buy it.
I don't think it lasts
like a
either.
second
I
chance.
agree.
Like he says it in the movie. He's like, "This is a second chance. You have a second chance." Nobody ever talks about a third chance. It's now or never. I
agree. I agree with you, Rob. But I do think that if you, instead of Clubber Lang, if Apollo wanted to fight a third time, I think it could have worked, because you got Apollo won the first one, Rocky won the second one. Let's do the last,
like a best 2 out of 3.
best 2 out of 3. Yeah,
maybe.
It could.
I think it would have worked.
I don't
I
know.
think that would have
I
worked.
think them as friends is.
Oh, I thought it was
them-
better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it would have to
No.
be really something really terrible would have to have happened, right? Like, and even at the end of that, like if it goes into a franchise like that where there's a third fight where Apollo gets the next shot, something terrible has to happen at the end of that film, in my opinion. Like someone
Apollo has
either
to die.
dies or I mean, he and ultimately will.
No, I agree. I think you're right, because then you don't have 4. You don't have their relationship, the bro hug that happens in 3, and you don't have.
Oh, so blue. Such
The
a
Daisy
beautiful
Duke,
thing on the beach.
Oh
male
my
Daisy
God.
Duke
Yes.
bro
Such
hug.
an
So
awkward
awesome.
scene.
Yeah.
It's so
Way
great,
up.
though.
Midriff
muscled men.
shirts.
That
The shortest
movie,
shirts out.
so great. That's so great. That whole scene is what's the matter with you?
Oh my God. So what's the other questions?
Okay,
Yeah,
so then
doesn't work.
there were
Doesn't
just
work
some-
that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna say even the score. I
No.
don't know. I think you have to have it. I think Rocky has to win in Rocky 2, because then what do you do in Rocky 3?
Well, what's the point,
Like,
right?
Yeah.
What's the
How do
point?
you even have a Rocky?
And what's
3?
the story? What's the the greatest
Yeah.
part about Rocky 3 is like, now he's successful. He got paid a lot more money. He's making millions, because the purse was a lot higher on the second one
And because
than the first one.
right, and Apollo
know.
even says to him at the end, he tells him that he's like, "Good luck." So
Yeah.
like, and that's the thing. I've been watching these films with subtitles, so I can catch all these all
he
these
does
things
say
I
good
can't
luck.
hear.
Right.
And he's like, "Good luck." So like, then that voids that. Like, you would
Yeah.
have to somehow write the end of Rocky 2 in a very specific way. In fact, Rocky 2 would have to end in a draw.
Makes
They
sense.
both would have never had to have gotten up on the 10 count, and then you would have a third fight. But I don't
Okay.
think it just doesn't work. Yeah.
Hot take: Rocky 2 cannot stand on its own without Rocky 1. It's almost as if it's like Deathly Hallows Part 1, Part 2. Like that's the way I see it. Or Rocky 2 is more like Rocky 1.5. You know what I mean? It's just like it's an epic.
The extended
It
scene.
seems like you can watch one movie into the next movie.
Mhm.
Because you could watch the end of Rocky 1, and then you can go without the prologue, and you can go right into
Them going to the hospital.
exactly.
Yeah.
You could go right into it. You could do some sort of supercut and watch them together. Like it could be one epic film. It could be like Lord of the Frickin' Rings.
It could be
you know
like
what I
Kill
mean?
Bill.
I think
Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Stallone should put
Yes.
Rocky 1, Rocky 2 together. There should be a cut where it's just one continuous film. And then
Correct.
you probably could do Rocky 3 sort of, but not really because he changes so much. I mean, he looks like a totally different person. But like I would say, like,
and there's a lot of time travel between that.
yeah, Punch to the Future. But I think you have
Yeah.
like it's a little Easter egg in there.
Punch.
But, like, I
Did you
think
say
you
Punch
have-
to the Future?
It's another Easter egg. Yeah.
Yeah, we're totally just Spielberging this whole thing. But
Yeah.
I think
I
what
love
you
it.
have is like you have this like Rocky 1,
You
Rocky
have to
2
watch. You have to
super
listen to
cut.
all of this, all these episodes to get everything
I
we're saying.
can't wait.
Then return and re-listen. So I
Yeah.
think like you get like Rocky 1, Rocky 2, you're right, Rob, can just be done in one big film. Rocky 2 is
Right.
hard to watch on its own, I think. Yeah.
Here's my question then: if you're stringing the movies together,
Yeah.
do you notice the direction to be a little different?
I think some of the shots, I think you do notice some different in some of the story, the way the storytelling is paced. I think because if you have a different director, they can visually see in Rocky 1, Philadelphia is a big part of the movie. And it's like almost like he encapsulates Philadelphia, right? Like he is Philadelphia, and the city gets a lot of, there are a lot of shots of it that make a lot of sense. In Rocky 2, it's there, but it's only because they live there. And I don't think it's the
not like it's
same.
another character.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a Philadelphia is like another character in the film. Correct.
It seems like it's going to be like that in the beginning of Rocky 2 when you get those night shots to the hospital.
Sure.
But then it just it's just all focused on him, financially just making so many mistakes. I mean, this is literally rich dad, poor dad.
So here's so
Reference.
before we do the test,
Yeah.
Rob, rate your Rockies.
Oh boy.
Do not include Creeds.
Creed, yeah, no.
Okay.
All 6. Rate and just say the numbers.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna be rough. 4, 1, 5, 3, 2.
Wow. What about 6?
Yeah, Balboa's in
Rocky
there.
Balboa's in
counts?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
that
that's
counts.
that's like
You don't like
that's
6?
dead last.
Really?
I saw it once. It didn't do anything for me. No.
Yeah, you should rewatch it.
Okay.
Watch 5
I like
and
5.
then there. Really? So
Wow. 4-1. I'm okay with the 4-1. 4-1.
I'm cool with 4-1.
4-1,
4-1 should be a t-shirt. 4-1 I'm liking it.
Oh my God.
You gotta listen
got
to the
dibs
other
on that
ones.
Well, the
Rob.
thing is,
Do
I
not
think
make that
4
shirt.
4 is
Coming after you.
because that
Fan
I was
favorite.
in like prime of movie watching.
You
know
also
what I
love
mean?
80s,
I was
right?
yes, but at the end of the day, like I was really young back then. So like I remember those other movies around. I had cousins who watched them. I recently saw 3. Like I saw it as an adult. I don't think I watched 3 in a long time. It like I know
And you
Mr.
didn't
T
like it?
from the A-Team. No, I just it's good. I don't know. Well, okay. Maybe that was like maybe I was just a little
You
like,
jumped the gun on the
premature.
415.
Let's say 4-1. You see, that's the thing. 4-1-2-5-3. How's that? I like 3 and then 6. I like 3. I like it. I do like 3. I don't think I've watched it enough. So maybe
So you're
I
putting
think I've only
5
seen it maybe because I've seen 5 a million times.
Dude,
It was on HBO all the time.
Okay.
I can't believe you're putting 5 before 3.
Okay,
Yes,
but hold on.
I put 3.
I'm
yes,
like,
I
Hold on.
love 5. I mean, Kevin Connolly's in it. I mean, come on, you can't get any better than that.
yeah,
you
you
know?
can. Rocky,
Touch Me and I'll Sue.
4,
This is-
1, 2, 6, all better than 5.
I mean, honestly, if anybody
Hold
ever
on.
asks me what Rocky I want to watch, it's always 4.
I
I
think
never
that-
want to watch anything else.
Yeah, no,
I just want to watch 4. I just want to watch 4 forever.
That's it. Everybody does. It's
It's
a fan
like,
favorite.
rate them all. Rocky 4, Rocky 4,
I think that was-
Rocky 4, Rocky 4, Rocky 4.
I forgot if I put 4 first, but I feel like I could flip between 1 and 4, 4 and 1. Like I think like to me, like those two spots are just kind of always interchanging. But for me, the rest of them, I think I don't know if I wrote mine down somewhere, but
Did
like,
you write mine down?
Well,
I mean,
we're talking about speak. I mean, you're talking about nostalgia, and the one thing that I've realized, because I'm all about nostalgia. I love the things that I collect and the things that I still like connect to are things that I connected to as a child. Like I watched the Muppet Show, but not as much as I watched Star Wars. And I like the Muppets, but I'm not gonna like go out of my way to watch like 6 seasons of the Muppet Show, or how many seasons it was on. But it was there. It was involved. You know what I mean? Like I was there. That was on. But like Rocky 4, I remember seeing. That's the only Rocky movie I saw in the theater. So maybe that's what it is. My father took us to go see that.
I'm just baffled.
Hold on.
By
I know what you're baffled by.
536.
So Rob, I have to kind of like sometimes I watch 5 and I'm like, I actually don't hate, like there's times I watch 5 and I'm like, I freaking hate this movie. It should have never been made.
The music is terrible.
Because the music is terrible, but it is 90s. It's so 90s.
But it was
good 90s music.
It was good. Yeah.
Come on. The ending song, Measure of a Man by Elton John. I love that song. But like, I'll listen to that right now.
But there's sometimes in 5 that I'm like, this is a pretty good movie. And then I'm like, in comparison though, it's always 5 last. Like I actually like Rocky Balboa more than 5. I think my original, when I always think about it, it's like it's 4-1, 2-3, or 3-2 sometimes, 6-5.
I think that was mine. Like mine was like 1-4, 3-2, 6-5.
But like there are times that I bring up 6 can almost be ahead of 3 because there's some like, hey, let's get back to the original basics.
I'm almost like 6 can replace 2.
Wow.
Like after watching 2, like
Okay.
I was just like thinking about what Rob said, like it doesn't stand on its own as well. Like I can watch Rocky Balboa and be like, this is a film that I could watch on its own. I feel like you get enough backstory, you get enough like whatever there. It's in its own world because so much time has passed.
Yeah.
But with Rocky 2, it's just like what like you need Rocky 1 pretty much. But they do a good job of like showing you what happened to make sure that you can understand Rocky 2. But I don't know, like I can't ever see Rocky 5 being anywhere but on the bottom. And I feel like even on the bottom, I need to draw like a gigantic space between whatever Rocky is before 5 and then 5.
I think I like Rocky 5 because it was always on HBO, and I had HBO. And my brother and I watched a lot.
Yeah.
And we have I have the record. I have the Rocky 5 record. I have it upstairs.
But see, that's the thing too. And I always bring up this.
Oh, and
movie
the priest
named
is
Manny.
in that a lot. The priest is in that like all the like 4 times. I love it when he does that.
Manny hates when I say this, but I think that's why like there's some weird reason why Over the Top is in my like brain is because that movie, I've seen that movie so many times when I was
I thought we were gonna make it through the episode without you freaking
I almost brought it up before when we were talking about
I thought you guys
were
gonna
Rock or Rob because like they say Hawks or Hawk.
Are you guys gonna meet halfway across the sky or something?
Where?
Could you meet halfway across the sky on this one?
I hate you. All right, let's get to it because
that's your rating. Okay,
we're gonna go on. I can't. Rob's ratings are. We should just get like t-shirts made of all the ratings. Like this is who you are as a Rocky fan. 4-1, 5-3, 2-6. I'm a 4-1, 5-3, 2-6.
I'm so surprised that 3 comes after 5. I'm just really freaked out.
I would love to see like an Apollo origin story.
Oh, like Apollo fighting before he fought Rocky.
Yeah, like yes, no Apollo, like how
training with Tony.
Training with Tony,
like a young Duke.
Yeah,
a young Duke training on the beach. Maybe they did a bro hug as well.
I would like to see a Rocky prequel like Netflix series where it's like the origin of Rocky or the origin of Apollo as a series instead of a film. I think it would be kind of cool to see that because I think both of these guys have like a deep character story that Stallone has written somewhere. I'm pretty sure he has some sort of backstory written like hundreds of pages somewhere so that like they could develop a series that would be
Sly.
an intertwining series that gets to Rocky
you could
1.
do that.
Like
You
all
could call
you
it
do is you
Robert.
lead up to Rocky 1.
You could call it Robert and
Call
Apollo.
it Robert.
Robert and Apollo, dude. Because you
They
could
would
do
What's
that,
happen
and then,
at the
Apollo's
same
real
time.
name?
and then you could see whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
You could then see how Paulie met
Right.
Rocky,
Yeah.
and like just kind of and see that.
And they intertwine towards Rocky 1.
Yes.
And that's the end of the series.
Oh. And
So
see
now
the
you would have to
mid-
watch the series, then watch Rocky 1, then
Oh,
then
dude,
watch
that
Rocky
would-
2. Like,
You could do this, man. You could be in the Rocky world, just like
Yeah.
I know Rob loves Star Wars. I like Star Wars, but you could make a universe of just around
yeah.
all these Rockies.
Stallone.
Yeah, you could
Call
have
off.
you could have a Spider Rico episode.
Oh,
I'd watch that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Gazzo as a young Gazzo.
Yeah, like coming
Yeah.
up, like when he
Who did
meets
he
him.
Who did he
Yeah,
kill?
the first
to
guy
become, like, the
he
big-
whacked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we're
All
giving out the ideas, but
setting
I
up the
think they
Google
could do
Doc
this.
right now.
All right,
Pete.
guys.
All right. So
we're
here we
here.
are. Nostalgia test. Does Rocky 2
I think-
pass the nostalgia test? So Rocky 1, just as a recap, Rocky 1 passed the nostalgia test on when we did
For
the Rocky
sure.
1 episode, we measured the score. Shout out to measuring the score. So Rocky 2, does it pass the nostalgia test?
I'm gonna
Yeah, go ahead,
say I'm gonna say it does with a caveat. It does, but it does not exist without one. It just ekes in there.
Mm.
Just like it gets in there just how Rocky won this fight. 1 second. That's
1
it.
second.
It ekes in
Okay.
there. That's it.
I say, I almost have to agree with Rob on this one. I think it's very nostalgic. I think it's a good film. I love the love story. Definitely, shows you the great couple that they are. And it does sneak in there, but you have to have one for it to sneak in there. I wouldn't be
Right.
able to just I don't ever think like, hey, I want to watch Rocky 2. And if I am, no, so I guess it doesn't pass the test. No, it doesn't. I'm taking it back. It doesn't, because I don't ever want to watch it. Like, I know he wins at the end, but I don't want to see all the middle stuff. I'd rather watch Rocky 3. I'd rather watch Rocky 1. And of course, I'm watching Rocky 4 all the time. I just played it yesterday at shameless plug, at Lithology Brewing Company. That's LITHOLGY Brewing. Played it, sound on. It's Rocky 4. I mean, come on. But it doesn't pass the test. It just stays nostalgic. It's a good movie. Yes, he wins. Yes, I'm wearing the shirt, but it still doesn't.
Yeah.
It just stays nostalgic for me.
I'm gonna agree with you, Manny. Like, that was the thing I was wrestling with today. As I was watching it, I was like, man, I want to really love this film like I loved Rocky 1 when we did that. And it's not that I don't like Rocky 2. I like Rocky 2. I just think that, like you said, Rob, that you need Rocky 1 for Rocky 2 to work as a viewing experience. So like you can't watch
Right.
it too far apart from each other. But if I'm thinking about it, it's nostalgic to me. It doesn't pass the test. It's nostalgic because it's Rocky, and it finishes one, and it leads me towards I'm not gonna say maybe insanity, but like as Rocky 3 and 4 and everything kind of just starts to happen, it becomes so big, right? Like the Rocky 1 and 2 are still kind of humble in what it is. And then right after that, it's just like Rocky 3. You have like Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, you have all this stuff going on. Rocky 4, as we know, everyone understands what, like, the roadhouse of Rocky films. And then but with Rocky 2, like, you need that Rocky 1 connection. So I'm gonna say it's just nostalgic, which doesn't make it a bad film, but it just, like, it's not a Rocky I'm picking up to watch, all the time. I would rather watch probably just Rocky 1. That I will watch. Wow. I am exhausted.
Rob, thanks again for coming on. Guys, check out Rob at the Sanity is Overrated podcast. All right, Dan, I'll see you at the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you at the next one. Everyone, please like and subscribe to the podcast. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, so people can, more people can find the podcast, and go to the website, thenostalgiatest.com, and leave, a suggestion for another test, and join the mailing list, because we put a lot of cool stuff in there, exclusive notes, photos, quotes, teasers to the next episode. And when we're going to come out with a live, it's all in the email. So you want to be the first to know that. And follow us on Instagram at the Nostalgia Test, and on Twitter at nostalgia test. And yeah, we'll see you at the next test. And Rob, thank you so much for being here. And
Thanks for having me again. For Rocky 2. You can find me again at Rob McCaffs, ROBMCCAFFS on Instagram. You can get in touch with me through my podcast at the Sanity Podcast at gmail.com, or you can check us out. I like it if you come at us, slip into our DMs on Instagram at the Sanity Podcast, at the Sanity Podcast. It's that simple. That's where we do most of our communicating. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, and everyone, if you want to email us at the nostalgia test, it's just the nostalgia test at gmail.com. Wow. Well, everybody, thank you so much. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the next test. Looking out for Rocky 3 soon, so be ready.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to the Nostalgia Test podcast to know when new episodes drop. Don't forget to leave us 5 stars and a positive review so more people can find the podcast. Share your thoughts and memories on today's topic on our Twitter at Nostalgia Test and on Instagram at The Nostalgia Test. Tune in next time because you never know what pop culture will pop up on The Nostalgia Test.